Steve Jobs, the visionary behind Apple, defied all odds by pushing the boundaries of what was possible for the time. His relentless pursuit of perfection resulted in inventions that changed the game and redefined the world as we know it, with the creation of smartphones that remain the benchmark in the market to this day. But behind the scenes, triumphs and tribulations, moments of glory and controversial moments shaped Steve Jobs as one of the greatest icons in the history of technology. If you enjoy this type of video, follow us and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the upcoming content we're preparing. Now let's get to the point. Steve Jobs was given up for adoption as a baby by his biological parents, knowing that they were unable to raise him and provide a good future. His adoptive parents welcomed him and raised him with love and a good education. But surprisingly, Jobs was not the standout in his class at school, quite the opposite. Despite always having a great interest in electronics, he was not one of the top students and didn't even graduate from college. During his time at Reed College, Jobs had no idea what he wanted to do with his life. And to prevent his parents from continuing to spend money aimlessly, he decided to drop out of college. With free time and no clear goals, he started learning calligraphy. That's right, calligraphy. But why would that be relevant to the genius's career? You'll find out soon. It was evident that his mind had a greater interest and aptitude for creation and experimentation. For this reason, sometime later, Steve Jobs founded Apple in a garage around 1976, along with his childhood friend Steve Wozniak. They worked hard until the launch of the first computer, the Apple I, which was just the first step of an extraordinary journey. The genius was determined to create innovative products that would change the way people interacted with technology. In the following years, the Apple II, Apple III, and Apple Lisa, named after his daughter, were released. Until, in the 1980s, the famous Macintosh was launched. And do you know one of the great features of this latest release? The quantity and variety of fonts and calligraphy it had, thanks to Jobs' learning years before. In a speech that the technology giant gave at Stanford University, he said, "It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped out of college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces." That's how Jobs understood that the dots can only be connected when we look back, when everything falls into place and makes sense. That's why he preached the importance of finding what we love to do and following our hearts to achieve personal and professional satisfaction. Another example that demonstrates how events end up being connected with a purpose is the fact that Jobs left Apple, the company he himself founded. But how? With an intense and demanding personality, Jobs was known for his relentless pursuit of perfection and reaching high standards, which often caused conflicts and tensions within work teams. In the early 1980s, Steve Jobs was enjoying the success he had achieved. However, internal conflicts arose within the company, primarily between Jobs and John Sculley, who was hired as Apple's CEO in 1983. One of the main points of disagreement between Jobs and Sculley was the strategic direction of the company. Jobs firmly believed that Apple should focus on innovative and high-design computer projects, while Sculley believed that a more market-focused and profit-oriented approach should be adopted. In May 1985, Apple's board of directors supported Sculley, delegating to Jobs a less influential role within the company, the title of chairman of the board and visionary of products. This was a blow to the brilliant entrepreneur, who decided not to accept it and leave the company. Jobs' departure from Apple allowed him to embark on new ventures. He founded Next Computer, a high-performance computer company focused on the education and corporate market. What he didn't imagine was that the technology and talent invested in Next would play a fundamental role in his return to Apple. If you're enjoying the video so far, feel free to leave a like, so we can bring more content like this in the coming days. In 1997, Apple was facing financial difficulties and product issues. At that moment, the company led by Sculley decided to invest in Next Computer and brought Steve Jobs back as a consultant. Eventually, Jobs resumed the position of CEO of Apple and initiated a remarkable transformation in the company, launching iconic products such as the iMac, iPod, iPhone, and iPad. In fact, he was named the most powerful person in the business world by Fortune magazine in 2007. But Sculley wasn't the only one to have public differences with Jobs. Billionaire Bill Gates also entered the picture. The reality is that the relationship between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates was complex and evolved over the years. In the early years of Apple and Microsoft, Jobs and Gates had a close business relationship. However, as both companies grew and became direct competitors, the relationship between Jobs and Gates became more tense. The rivalry between Apple and Microsoft intensified, especially in the operating systems sector, until they met again in the 1990s to discuss a possible collaboration. Microsoft invested in Apple, which was going through difficult times, and agreed to develop software for the Macintosh platform. This agreement helped strengthen Apple's position in the market and improve its relationship with Microsoft. In fact, in Jobs' authorized biography, it is reported that Gates made a friendly visit to Jobs shortly before his passing. But the brilliant mind of the Apple founder wasn't solely focused on work and technology. Jobs had a strong connection to spirituality, a connection that was further fueled after a trip to India in the 1970s. And despite being known as a private person when it came to his personal life, Jobs occasionally expressed reflections on topics related to spirituality. He believed that meditation could clear the mind and aid in making important decisions, and he mentioned in speeches and interviews that his search for meaning and purpose went beyond materialism and technology. In the year 2003, Jobs was diagnosed with a rare type of pancreatic cancer and underwent various treatments in the following years. Initially, Jobs resisted the idea of undergoing invasive surgery to remove the tumor, opting for alternative approaches such as special diets and natural treatments. However, his condition worsened, and in 2004, he finally underwent surgery to remove the tumor. After the surgery, Jobs stated that the cancer had been completely removed and he was recovering well. Unfortunately, pancreatic cancer returned in 2008. Jobs kept this information confidential for a while, which led to speculations about his health. However, in 2009, he took an official medical leave from Apple to focus on his health. In 2011, he announced his resignation as CEO, and shortly after, in October of the same year, Steve Jobs passed away at the age of 56. The Apple statement said, "We are deeply saddened to announce that Steve Jobs has passed away today. The brilliance of Steve, his passion, and his strength were the sources of countless innovations that enrich and improve all our lives. The world is immeasurably better because of Steve." On the day of his death, there was an inevitable outpouring of tributes that spread across news and technology websites worldwide. Barack Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk are just a few of the prominent figures who expressed their sadness over such a loss. Steve Jobs is undoubtedly one of the most talked about individuals since his death, and perhaps one of the least known and understood. Through his triumphs and struggles, the creator of Apple demonstrated the immense power of his mind, but also the human frailty that accompanied him. We appreciate your presence thus far and look forward to your comment on what you thought of the captivating story behind Steve Jobs' genius. Until next time, see you in the next video, folks.